Hi, my name is Melinda Goodman. I'm from Sabanito, Texas, and I'm the driver of this crazy bunch.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Daniel. I'm from Harlingen, Texas, and I've really enjoyed doing this presentation with my friends.
Hi, my name is Justin Lynch. They call me the whiz kid of the bunch. I really enjoy putting this presentation together.
Hi, my name is Rosalinda McPherson. I am from Brownsville, Texas, and Melinda drives me up here to the Edinburgh class. We've really enjoyed doing this together. We have learned, we've been inspired by the Apostle Scott's devotion to families are forever, and we hope that you may be as well inspired.
The Life of Richard Gordon Scott by Jennifer Daniel, Melinda Goodman, Rosalinda McPherson, and Justin Lynch. Richard Gordon Scott was born November 7, 1928 in Pocatello, Idaho. Elder Scott moved to Washington, D.C. at the age of 5 with his parents.
Elder Scott's parents, Kenneth Leroy Scott and Marie Eliza Whittle Scott, raised their family with high standards of integrity and principle. Elder Scott's father was not a member of the church and his mother was not active. Through the love and example of President Taft Benson, his father was converted and his mother was reactivated. Elder Scott's father worked for Ezra Taft Benson. He was his Assistant Secretary of Agriculture. His 4 brothers and he were encouraged by their parents to fix things. Elder Scott smiles when he recounts when he and his brother put a caboose whistle on the exhaust manifold of their family car.
Member missionary work and example is vital. Elder Scott's father was not a member of church and his mother was inactive. Through the love and example of Ezra Taft Benson, as well as his example to his family, his father was converted and his mother reactivated. Another great member example in his life was Janine Watkins, the daughter of a senator from Utah. One night during their courtship, Janine categorically stated that she would only marry a returned missionary in an LDS church temple. Elder Scott's career plans had changed and he applied for missionary service.
As a teenager, Elder Scott was determined to earn his own way for college. During the summers, he worked on an oyster boat off the coast of Long Island. He also worked cutting down trees in Utah for the Forest Service and repairing railroad cars and other jobs. There was one summer, though, where his application at the Utah Park Service was denied due to all positions being filled. Despite his application being rejected, he traveled from Washington, D.C. to Utah. When he arrived the following morning, he presented himself to work. They asked him, "Didn't you receive our letter?" He said, "Yes, but I would like to work anyway. Is there a position as a desk clerk?" The man laughed. "How about bellboy?" He got no answer. "All right," he said, I'll wash dishes." "Forget it," the man said. "We don't have any openings." He only had 3 cents in his pocket left. What was he going to do? He didn't have a place to stay or didn't have enough money to get back. So out of desperation, he said, "All right, I'll wash dishes for 2 weeks. And if you don't like my work, you don't have to pay me." The man accepted. Richard washed dishes, but he also went into the kitchen to see if he could help. By summer's end, he was the number 2 cook. These experiences did more than provide for his college savings account. They also helped him grow spiritually. During spare minutes, he read and pondered the Book of Mormon and experienced a powerful spiritual awakening.
Elder Scott attended George Washington University. He received his Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering. From 1953 to 1965, Elder Scott served on the immediate staff of Admiral Hyman Rickover, directing the development of nuclear fuel for a wide variety of naval and land-based power plants. Elder Scott received an honorary Doctor of Christian Service degree from Brigham Young University in 2008. A few weeks after returning from Uruguay, Scott was interviewed by then-Captain, later Admiral, Hyman G. Rickover for a job on a top-secret project involving nuclear energy. The interview seemed to go poorly since, when Scott mentioned his recent missionary service, the volatile captain snapped, "And what do I care about your mission?" When asked what was the last book he read, Scott had to answer truthfully, the Book of Mormon. When all seemed lost, Scott stood to leave, but Rickover told him to wait, saying that he had only been testing his confidence and whether he would be true to what he believed, since this would be a difficult project. He was then offered the job in the immediate staff of Captain Rickover, working on the design of the nuclear reactor for the Nautilus, the first nuclear-powered submarine of the U.S. Navy. He later completed what was an equivalent to a doctorate in nuclear engineering at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee. But due to the classified nature of the work, a formal university degree could not be awarded.
Elder Scott met his wife Janine Watkins at George Washington University. Janine was the daughter of Utah Senator Arthur B. Watkins. Her major was in sociology. One night Janine said to him, "When I marry, it will be in the temple to a returned missionary." Elder Scott had not thought much about going on a mission, but that night he had something to think about. He prayed harder than ever. He met with his bishop, graduated from George Washington University, and he left to Uruguay to do his mission. Any fears that Elder Scott may have had of having other young men court Janine were put to rest when she announced she too would be going on a mission. The following year, Janine graduated from George Washington University and the next day left to the northwestern states to do her mission. 2 weeks after Elder Scott returned from his mission, they were married in the Manti, Utah temple. In one of their interviews, Elder Scott says, "Besides, we have an awful lot of fun together." And Sister Scott smiles and says, "We really do. He's my best friend." That bond is immediately obvious. Humor and laughter are friendly companions in their marriage. We know when to be serious and when to have fun, Elder Scott says, as they tease one another, but it's a gentle teasing. Elder Scott has not remarried. He continues to live his life worthily so he could be reunited with Janine. The Scott family had 7 children. A daughter died just before birth, and 6 weeks later, their 2-year-old son died in a heart surgery. After battling a long-term illness, Sister Scott passed away in 1995. Elder Scott remembers one of his favorite things about Sister Scott. He says, "Her love of the Lord and her spirituality is what he loves the most about her. He remembers her as a devoted, hardworking, and capable wife who made the family the center of her life."
That beautiful message by this magnificent choir describes, I think, the pattern of life for so many of us, trying to be like Jesus. On July 16th, my beloved Janine and I knelt as a young couple at the altar in Manti, Utah Temple. President Lewis Anderson exercised the sealing authority and pronounced us husband and wife, wedded for time and for all eternity. I have no power to describe the peace and serenity that came from the assurance that as I continue to live worthily, I'll be able to be with my beloved Janine and our children forever, because of that sacred ordinance performed with the proper authority in the house of the Lord. Our 7 children are bound to us by the sacred ordinances of the temple. My precious wife, Janine, and two of our children are beyond the veil. They provide a powerful motivation for each remaining member of our family to live so that together we will receive all of the eternal blessings promised in the temple.
Elder Scott's ability to speak Spanish has been beneficial in the many church callings he has had, such as a state clerk, a counselor in a state presidency, the managing director of the genealogical department, and as the executive administrator of the church for Southern Mexico and Central America regions. He was called as a member of the first quorum of the 70 on April 2nd, 1977. Then called as a member of the presidency of that quorum on October 1st, 1983. From 1965 to 1969, he presided over the Argentina North Mission in Córdoba, Argentina. He also served as the regional representative in Uruguay, Paraguay, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. regions. He was then sustained on apostle on October 1st, 1988.
Elder Scott became an apostle on October 6, 1988. He was called by Ezra Taft Benson and replaced Marion G. Romney. Elder Scott touches many souls when he speaks of eternal families, repentance, forgiveness, and other gospel doctrines and principles.
Elder Scott finds great joy in emulating the beauty of life and nature through painting and watercoloring. This painting is titled Janine Walking Towards the Light. This painting was based on a snapshot taken of Janine at Adamondi Amman. Elder Scott painted this picture after Janine passed through the veil in 1995. It serves as a reminder to him that she is ahead of him on the path walking towards the light. The Scotts enjoyed spending time together. They shared an interest in jazz music, as well as collecting and listening to South American folk music. Both enjoyed painting, watercoloring, and hiking. Birding, as a couple and as a family, also captured their interest. There's a bird feeder in the backyard, and when the family eats out on the patio, there's always at least one pair of binoculars at the table.
Elder Scott explains, we can create a fire more intense than burning wood. It is produced from a mixture of aluminum powder and metal oxide. We, as disciples of Christ, need to develop this kind of fire within us, one that cannot be put out by ordinary means, like water, or perhaps being offended. Let us all create a fire, a self-sustaining fire that will give off a brilliant light and warmth to bless the lives of those around us.
Lessons learned. In 1988, Apostle Scott gave a talk about never giving up on our loved ones that were not active or the loved ones that were not members. He also drew this illustration, which, when I saw it back then in 1999, it really inspired me and definitely expressed how I felt. October 31st, my father passed away in 1999. Then on November 20th, my father-in-law passed away from an accident. Then in December, my daughter was diagnosed with a chronic illness and was paralyzed. I felt like that frog. I was not going to give up. I relied on the Lord to help our family through this difficult time. I put it on the Lord's hands, and I did my part in trusting Him.
Elder Scott encourages us to believe in yourself. Doubt destroys creativity, while faith strengthens it. As your ability increases, you will seek the objective criticism of others more experienced. Enjoy the process of discovery, not just the end result of your efforts. When I was a brand new member of the church, I remember a quote from a talk given by Elder Scott. True Christ-like service is seldom convenient. I applied that to my brand new self and worked on mastering the art of service during inconvenient times. Elder Scott taught me the first step to true Christ-like service.